Okay, hello everyone. I'm here back with another set of replays, and today I'm showing you the tournament run from Hirooo and myself in the current Stresstest Open tournament. And I just thought I could use this event, as we had to try hard in these matches, to show how to play 2v2 and to explain how to communicate, how to set up your gameplay, how to optimize decks so that you can create good synergy between decks and all that stuff, as I didn't have that many 2v2 replays on my channel. So yeah, I will just go through analysis right here, and since it's 2v2 there will be a lot of action, so I have to pause these videos sometimes. So for everyone who doesn't like this constant pausing, first of all I will give you the warning. There will be a lot of pausing in this video, so if you don't like that, maybe check out some other videos that are upcoming in the future. I will upload some PvP and PvE replays quite soon, maybe even some live gameplay, depends on how much time I do have. So yeah, so let's go into the game. Both of us are starting with Shadow against Fire and Frost, and what's important right here is that we do play a double Motivate in our deck. So if you play Motivate Upgrade 3 and Upgrade 2, the Motivates do stack with each other, so this is a pretty common combo in the double Shadow tier 1. So my Motivate is on Upgrade 2, Hirooo has Motivate at Upgrade 3. So my opponent, ppak here, is building up a power wall, so I decide to rush him, and Hirooo on the side is trying to pressure the Fire players, so he can force him to not invest any power into eruptions. So we can see thugs over here, an even early fight, thugs dying here, scavengers dying, Red Charger Forsaken, so pretty much a fight on even terms. Hirooo seems to be slightly ahead right now, as he can't get a clear focus fire onto these Forsaken, onto the Sunstriders, and yeah, he's saving his dazed Forsaken to get a good positioning out. As you can see, they are full life Forsaken with a very good positioning. We can just constantly fire, so there's no way to retreat right now for eragonas here, while these ones are trying to run away from him. So this fight is very important. As you can see, the power limit here is completely given, so there's no way that eragonas can play out an eruption here. Even though that is the case, I always make sure, even though I'm playing against the Frost player that has no area of effect damage spells, that I'm get off a decent split. As you can see, I'm still trying to rush right here, getting off Ice Guardians with my Forsaken, while the Dread Chargers are focusing the Master Archers, and Hirooo is completely getting the push onto eragonas right here, because he has a lot of Forsaken still ongoing. Frenzying here to get the thugs down. This is very important, because thugs are getting very annoying once they get out of daze, and yeah, right now he's trying to circle around the last Sunstrider squad. This one is going down, so there could be potential support on my side, and I need to be careful about that. As you can see, this fight was a complete wipeout, and Hirooo is starting to push immediately. He could pick up a power well right here, but this would actually allow eragonas here to support with eruptions on this side, so maybe this rush doesn't succeed in the end. So this is why Hirooo is playing more Forsaken and simply pushing for the tier 1 base, while I still are on my attack, trying to get this well done. I managed to stabilize a little bit, having a good amount of Nox Troopers here around the board, and this is a very good composition against Ice Guardians. As you can see, Hirooo is still fighting at the choke point here against some thugs, but yeah, you can see that this early aggression is working out perfectly, as Hirooo completely wiped out his opponent here, while I could make advantage of the fact that the Frost player had like 100 power invested into this power well, which ends up for a very easy rush here, because I have a pretty short distance to that power well right here. So this one drops, and Hirooo immediately decides to push by himself, so both players are still under a lot of pressure, so they cannot support each other properly, because they do have to invest a lot of power into their units, so they can't use anything. Like if there's going to be a Glacier Shield over here, he's going to die, and if there's an eruption on the other side, the same thing happens over here. So the double motivate stack isn't that useful right here because I have to use more Nox Troopers against Frost, while Hirooo is using the Forsaken against Fire, which are just simply more effective. And yeah, so this doesn't come to play that much, but the fact that Shadow Tier 1 has a very early aggressive Tier 1 is being used right here to close off the game. Hirooo went for the Orb Focus, so there's no eruption coming in, and once he managed to clear out the ducks, this side is completely over. The Nox Troopers are clearing out the Master Archers, and with that the first game is already over. And yeah, as you can see, ppak, he has like some power, but he gave up at that point because there were 7 Nox Troopers in his base, and even if he manages to hold this push off, his mate is down and Hirooo is going to come with the Dread Charger. So there's that last life weaving from Hirooo to support me. It's not doing anything, but you know, the game is over anyway. So that was apparently the first game. I can speed up the rest. There's nothing happening, and yeah, that was the first game. So we went up 1-0 and went into the next game. Just for your information, these matches were always best of 3. So we had to win at least 2 games to advance to the next rounds. Okay, there we go again. Second replay right now. There are Dread Chargers on both sides again. We kept our deck composition and went ahead into the second game against ppak and eragonas. So they switched decks, so we can see a Swiftclaw right here. So there's Nature Frost, and there's always already the Frost player trying to get this position and trying to get down to his teammates so they can sort of support each other. That said, this complete position is given up and allowing me to push forward. So Hirooo made a small mistake. He was still expecting his mates to play Fire, so he played 3 Forsaken. Against Nature, this isn't the best thing, because Nature has Hurricane, but he didn't realize that there is Nature player on his opposing side, so he had like these Forsaken, and that was like a pretty bad start for us, because we had to play a little bit more passively because of that, because against Hurricane there's no way to win these early skirmishes. Even though this composition isn't optimal at all against Shadow, Swiftclaw is very bad against Nox Troopers, Dryad's same problem. And as you can see, ppak is going for his first well, but he took such a huge distance to get to this well that I can already pick up a second one and pressure in here, because he also played the Ice Shield Tower, which is 50 bound power. He lost some power because this well is like slightly being built up like 20 seconds later, so I do have like 60 additional power. So there's no way he could rush me, because he has also these Master Archers over here. So my advantage on this side, where we can sort of try to fight each other, is given, so I can pick up another power well. So I try to stay 1 power well up of my opponent all the time. 4 power wells against 3 right now. In the meantime, Hirooo played a little bit more passively, picking up his tier 2 because of his mistake of playing Forsaken against the Nature composition. But this also is due to the fact that ppak made his way up to his main base. So Hirooo apparently went ahead to pick up tier 2 to make sure that there is no 2v1 rushing against him. As you can see, the Hurricane incoming here. It's pretty hard to defend it. So I decided immediately to send down the Dread Chargers down to the well to distract ppak here, who spent a lot of power to attack, while Hirooo managed to save his units with a good freeze against the Hurricane. As you can see, the tier 2 is quite important. I sent down a Dread Charger to help him defending a little bit, while trying to get down this power well on the side. So we tried to sort of deal with a 2v1 synergy by getting Hirooo into the tier 2 spot, so there is no way to attack properly against that. So in the meantime, these Dread Chargers are hammering down onto that well, and as ppak had to invest a lot of power, he also got a little bit distracted, I guess, because he didn't use Glacier Shell right here. Maybe he doesn't have it in his deck, that could be also a possibility, but this well went down for free, so that is a very bad start for them. So in the meantime, there's an attack ongoing, ensnaring roots against the Frenzy Nightcrawler. Pretty good decision here to make sure that this one doesn't do anything anymore. You shouldn't focus it with the Dryad though, because the Nightcrawler will die anyways. He needs to get out of Forsaken here. In the meantime, the Dread Charger is clearing out the space, so Hirooo is sort of stabilized. Even though he's down 1 power well against his opponent, this doesn't matter at all, because I was up 1 power well against ppak all the time, and right now this well dropped sort of for free, which is a huge mistake and sort of gives us a pretty big edge here in this game. So there's the Glyph of Frost. I didn't manage to dodge that, that was like poor micro by myself. But we do have the Dread Charger clearing out the Ice Barrier, so there's no shenanigans ongoing right here for now. And yeah, Stormsinger is going to deal with Dryad and Shaman, so he should have switched the Dryad. He could have killed this Forsaken with the attack mode right there. And I sent down the Dread Charger to assist here with the Nature player. As he's down 1 power well, in an extended fight, Stonekin can sort of make some pressure against Shadow Frost, Borovos and all that stuff, so I make sure this doesn't happen at all. Hirooo takes a power by himself, and I will assist him on the side, especially because ppak starts going to 42, which takes 30 seconds. The orb takes times to build up, so I will support on this side here to make sure that there is nothing serious happening over here. The Ice Guardians will probably come down to this damaged power well again, but yeah, I did mention that I went up to tier 2 already, so we do have Bandits and Shadow Frost in combination, so against Stonekin and Stonekin. So to just to talk about the idea behind the Bandits and Shadow Frost combination is that Bandits like both do have a very Dark of Assassin Nightcrawler rely on tier 2, and with double motivate we can sort of scale into tier 2 very well with that combo. While Bandits and Shadow Frost both have a very strong scaling into the late game, strong tier 3s, and a lot of good counter mechanics like double Aura of Corruption is circling, like this is sort of covering up such huge bases against important attacks, and I still do have the disenchant to make sure that there are no buffed XL units running through that. So there's a pretty solid advantage of that. The only sort of downside of that tier 2 is that you do have not that much crowd control. You do have the freeze of Shadow Frost, and before you end up getting into tier 3, this is sort of a little bit dangerous. So I picked up a well here, so both of us do have the spawning presence over here, and I sort of missed that. I used the lava field to clear out the 2 Borovos because they were still dazed, and the orb did the last shot to kill both of them, so this attack is stopped immediately, at least slowed down. These Ice Guardians survived because they were out of the range of the lava field. Probably some better placements would have killed them as well. But yeah, it's still me being up 2 power wells, and right now Hirooo is even, so we do have two additional power wells in the entire game. So there's Home Soil and yeah, 2 Ice Guardians hammering down to that well, and as you can see, Hirooo is apparently down on power because he invested a lot into attacking right now and trying to set up the pressure. So we were communicating in this situation because I had a lot of power, because I didn't have a lot of stuff to do here. I was about to take the power well right here with my Nightcrawler, but since Hirooo was down on power to his protect, he was at 46, I will use the lava field to make sure these Ice Guardians, even though this wasn't effective at all, won't get down the power well. Hirooo gets the power to repair. These ones will come out of the oink and clear the attack, so this was important to not lose that power well. So the Nightcrawler will take another path around that, probably trying to attack right here to force out some units. This is a pretty good thing, that even though Nightcrawlers are not that effective against Stonekin, 2v2 maps tend to be very big, and if I get to attack right here and he spawns counter units, like Stone Shards or something, Stone Shards are very slow, so they do have to walk like an eternity to get to a power well like close here, or he will take ages to reach me here. So this is why you can send up single Nightcrawlers or maybe single Borovos, even though their attacks are not power effective at all. Because you can force up the spawn unit and just run down to the next base. In the meantime, the Ice Shield Tower got used. Like, this is a very huge shield to set up a Borover attack with Stormsinger, DPS isn't that high, but since Bandits has no crowd control, it is quite hard to defend. In the meantime, I try to attack to sort of pressure on another spot. As he didn't play counter units, I thought I will just go for the Powerball. And in the meantime, this attack got defended, but since both of us here spent units, eragonas wasn't actually doing something else than defending in the meantime. So I do have the Bandit Spearman and the XHightech. Both are cards with like massive M damage. Hirooo is just investing some power to protect my Powerball. This is why Frost Splashes are very essential in 2v2s, because since there's a lot of action ongoing, and having the ability to keep our Powerball alive is so important. And it's often impossible to defend everything in a 2v2 without the Frost protects. So I will use a lava field over here, because Hirooo apparently supported me over here with a Kobold to keep this Powerball safe. There were 2 Hurricanes invested. The Burrower dies because the Bandit Spearman damage against amulets is insane. In the meantime, the Nightcrawler attack that I showed earlier went on and killed another Powerball. So I'm up 3 Powerballs on my side, and Hirooo is apparently up 4 Powerballs, because I do have that one too. And Hirooo in the meantime still is on even terms, but that is completely fine. The well distribution that we do have isn't completely optimal though. You usually do want the Frost Splash to have more power, because protecting your Powerballs is, well, let's say, quite important. But I can't use my power properly to make effective attacks right here, because simply this Ice Shield Tower is making things very hard, and this base is quite hard to reach. So I will sort of be slowed down if I do anything outside of this base here. So as you can see, Bandit Spearmen are still played again to support the attack. Same goes for the Arc of Assassins. This is the advantage of having two Powerballs right here. Both of us do have the spawn presence, so we can attack much more effectively than these two can defend, because ppak just simply doesn't have any spawn presence over here, so it can only use spells or something, or run down with Burrowers, which takes a lot of time to relieve the pressure on this side. And right now, as you can see, there's a lot of stuff ongoing. Another lava field coming in, Skyfire Drake, Lost Reaver. This side is getting pressured pretty much. So the Burrower is still trying to do at least something, but it's just not enough. Nightcrawler played. This is the perfect response against single Burrowers. You always want to defend with Nightcrawler, because they do have good DPS, and crowd control is not effective against building protects. So right now this well here drops, and right now the site is simply completely stabilized, and the Skyfire Drake is just flying down here because he had nothing to do. I can't attack the Ice Shield Tower. Same goes for these Bandit Spearmen. They can't do a lot, so I sent them down to attack a little bit over here. This base just drops completely. It gets completely annihilated, because 1v2 defenses are quite hard, I guess. The Skyfire Drake is hitting this power wall, which is completely fine, because there's nothing else I can do with him. Tier 3 came through in the meantime, by the way, and Aura of Corruption just made sure that there's nothing happening with the counter attack. A Vulcan is coming out in the meantime. Hirooo is trying to push his opponents onto his tier 1, while I managed to sort of send down the units as well. So the Glyph of Frost and Ensnaring Roots were played inside the Aura of Corruption. So this just makes sure this Vulcan simply doesn't get out of base. In the meantime, I managed to kick another power with the Skyfire Drake, because it was ravaged, and you know, the Spirit Hunters are simply not enough to make sure this DPS from the to DPS through the healing of the Skyfire Drake. So another Vulcan over here, supporting the army, getting onto the tier 1 orb. Hirooo in the meantime starts to attack ppak as well. Lost Reaver quite effective against all these S units. The Vulcan right now gets motivated from here, because this job here is done. The tier 1 orb is gone, and with conflict rate the damage onto buildings is quite good. So you can see the Spirit Hunters burn down, the Power Well burns down, the Storm Singer here also nearly burns down, and this orc drops Hirooo in the meantime is making a lot of pressure into this base, which is a good decision to just simply attack every base here to close this one faster. So the first round here ended up with a 2-0 for us, and we managed to advance into the semi-finals that I will show you right now. Okay, this is the first match of the semi-finals. I will play with Hirooo on Danduil. We are playing Shadow Nature right here against Silverdragon and Jenskendrikson, who are playing Fire and Shadow. So we decide to play Shadow Nature on this map because we do have a big center fight over here, because in Danduil most of the time you will have that big center fights, and Shadow Nature is a very good combo that excels at doing these fights. So in theory you play like 2 Dryades, so there is a Dryad reduction for all these Forsaken that are going to be played, and yeah, the rest of the nature part is to use crowd control and Search of Light and all that stuff to make sure that the high DPS shadow units simply don't die. As you can see, Forsaken getting the Dryad buff, so this is our formation. It's not that important to split down these units right now, because the only way to burst down Forsaken is getting a full HP Nasty in addition to an eruption at the same time. And since the Dread Charger is pretty much over here, we don't run into the risk of running into that. But as you can see, Jenskendrikson didn't play a lot of units. He played a mortar back there. From my perspective, this is far away. Like, this mortar is not affecting the battleground over here, so this is a clear mistake. But since he didn't play units, he does have the power to erupt. In theory, this just means for us, if this sort of Dread Charger doesn't run into these Forsaken and Nasty and will be combined with Eruption, we will end up winning this fight for sure. Because we went down onto this side here to get a good distance into the mortar, and also to focus down the shadow units. So another sort of advantage of the Shadow Nature thing is, since I do have Hurricane, the shadow player here, Silverdragon, can't use many Forsaken, because if they do have too many S units, I can simply play a Hurricane and crowd control all of that. So we do have a pretty decent unit composition advantage. And as you can see, the Dread Charger starts running into the army, and I am already at 120 power. So if he nasties right here, I will heal immediately to make sure there's no incoming eruption to combo. But as you can see, the Dread Charger runs in way too deep, will be focused from all units immediately, because we are aware of the only sort of win condition that they do have in this certain fight. The nasty comes way too late, does pretty much no damage at all, and at this point tier 1 is completely over. I'll pull back the Swift Claw, the Nox Trooper dies, this Nox Trooper dies, so 3 units just completely dead. As you can see, Jenskendrikson didn't apparently do anything, like his units were just watching, and to be honest, there was nothing that he could have done. So we were aware of the fact that he has some power in his pool, as you can see, 220, while Silverdragon lost 2 Nox Troopers, he lost his Dread Charger, he invested into a Nasty Surprise, so he is down on power, as you can see. So our only concern at like being not able to rush this main base is Jenskendrikson going tier 2. So this is why we, in the next second, will split up our army, where Hirooo sends down 2 Forsaken here to distract these units, to force out any spawns, eruptions or whatever, so we can delay the tier 2 timing over here. And this is quite important, because otherwise against Wildfire this is a little bit harder to attack. So double Nox Trooper Overload, he's getting one single Swift Claw with that, but that's fine, because the core units in the Shadow Nature matchup here for me are the Dryads. These ones need to stay alive, so everything is fine for me. In the meantime, 1 Forsaken here dropped, but Hirooo is already respawning to make sure that he can still pressure this potential tier 2, and the Nox Troopers die. So he lost 2 Nox Troopers and invested into Overload, get like the Swift Claw, that was pretty much not relevant for me, so our advantage is even bigger right now. So Hero spawned the Dread Charger and walked forward to make sure that they didn't get to pull up the wall here, because this one would have stalled out us and made sort of a little bit more time for them to get to tier 2 or do anything like building up a mortar, building up phase towers or something. So Jenskendrikson is trying to establish control here with a power wall to get spawn presence, and he's using an eruption over here. That is pretty effective. The split wasn't optimal here, but due to the fact that we have to defend over here as well. So what happened in the meantime, Silverdragon is trying to nasty spam into that, but the dry damage reduction is making this quite hard, and as there is pretty much nothing else that they can do apart from nesting, I will simply not spawn anything and just wait up until the nasty comes, so I can use Surge of Light. Eruption coming in here, I will just wait a second to heal, and then there's nothing they can do. Even though a nasty comes in here, I could just heal again. That is pretty much everything that I have to do right now, healing against the burst that they can try to throw against us. Double eruption here, heal comes in, nasty too late, another heal, units full life again, orb down, game over. This is pretty much how to play Shadow Nature textbook, to be honest. Yeah, the Forsaken spam with very good distraction onto the power wells and the orb, so we can prevent tier 2 against that after winning that early fight. And with that the game is over, and we went on 1-0 in this first semi-final game. So there we go in the second match, after sort of convincingly winning the first one with like a pretty massive stomp. We went into the second match on Zahedune, or whatever this map is called, like, and we sort of switched up our colors from Nature Tier 1 to Fire Tier 1 for me. He was still playing his Shadow Tier 1 with Dread Charger, and yeah, going in for an attack right here. So it's pretty much a mirrored map here. So there is fire against shadow here and shadow against fire here, and yeah, this is pretty much the standard position. Silverdragon trying to push for this orb, but that is completely fine for me. Both of us do have the fire player on the sort of safe side, because there's a third orb for the player on this spot and another orb on the for the player on this spot. This is very important because Shadow generally does have a good way of Forsaken spamming here, so there's a good chance that the Shadow player wins this fight over this orb. So in theory, if there were switched sides and I play Shadow against Fire here and I win this dazed fight, I can take up this orb here, and if you get control over this spot later on, the guy sitting here has no tier 3 spot. So this is pretty much important to know, especially when there's a Frost tier 1 player who's very slow in the game. This gets even more relevant. But first of all, we do have the Forsaken spam. I don't contest this because there's a lot of room here to micro with the Forsaken, so I will stay right here. So if Silverdragon decides to fight, he has to fight over here in a choke point where I can make sure that I can get off good eruptions, while he simply doesn't have the best unit positioning by himself. In the meantime, though, Jenskendrikson managed to do the first mistake of the game, of taking up a power wall. So in theory, if this is a 1v1 scenario and you pick up a mortar tower, this is not a big deal, because mortar, in fact, is not that weak, so you could easily defend this position. Slowing down the Dread Charger so that it can't nasty into the mortar right now, and using the remaining units to defend this. But we completely made good use of that mistake, because it's a 2v2 match, so there is potential support incoming. As you can see, I went pretty much passively in this tier 1. You can see there are three units here, 3 Forsaken. I just played 2 Sunstriders and the Scavengers, so they should have communicated that I'm not playing at my power limit, or at least Silverdragon should have attacked me to push and force me to invest power, because like this I can just erupt the mortar tower. This also damages the power wall. Even though this is not power efficient, this is more than enough for Hero to enable the push onto this power wall, because Hero is up 100 power over Jenskendrikson. As you can see, he has 5 Forsaken already on the board, while Jens has like 100 power, so he can play two Sunstriders at best. So Hirooo is up 2 units for free here, and this well already lost 300 HP from the eruption as well. So this one will most likely end up dropping if Hirooo doesn't run into a big eruption. So he's splitting already over there. In the meantime, Silver tried to push, but this was a huge mistake by him. So what happened over here, I sadly didn't get that on screen, is that he nasted his Dread Charger, but I managed to get off some focus fire onto it, so my Sunstriders survive, my Scavengers survive, and he apparently managed to kill his own Forsaken. So while I invested 75 power onto this mortar to support, Silverdragon already managed to throw his own lead here into this nasty, and in the following part I can simply just run back, save up my units, and in the end I'm completely fine and stabilized, while this looks pretty grim for them. This well is going down for sure. And there's also not that much that Silver can do right now. He's at 120 power, as you can see. I'm at 100, still remaining with like 4 units. So if he takes a power well, I can take one by myself and stay even. And in the meanwhile, the thugs end up getting kited a lot. Frenzy Forsaken with Motivate around the power well. So there's not that much that they can do. So yeah, this is a pretty big problem for them. So pretty much the big errors was, first of all, taking a power well up against Shadow is very risky, and if you do that, the Shadow player has to push to the to prevent that the Fire player has 75 spare power to erupt the mortar to defend this important spot. So pretty much a communication error also between them here. So second mortar trying to hold off the next push. In the meantime, I'm trying to get a small micro advantage by killing the Dread Charger and retreating with the Scavenger. And I thought, since I'm fine over here on my side, I can still erupt into this here. So the next mortar drops here before getting constructed fully, and now there are 5 Forsaken again into his base, and there's 100 power, so it doesn't have the same power as Hirooo, so maybe the second well is about to drop. In the meantime, I have to retreat against the Forsaken because I can't do that much without enough power here. My Sunstriders were not in place, but I can use an eruption to get rid of a lot of Forsaken. I micro my Sunstriders to keep them healthy over here, and yeah. In the meantime, Hirooo is making a quick well focus to simply make sure this second well drops as well. Even though if Jens manages to stabilize over here, these 4 units are still slow, and they will never reach Hirooo. They will never reach that base here, so Hirooo can pretty much even take a well. He can do whatever he wants right now. So it's all on Silverdragon to push right now, because I invested a lot to get rid of these mortar towers. But since these 2 wells dropped already, this was quite hard for him anyways. So yeah, I can use the ground that I have here to retreat, make sure that I can sort of reposition my units. Eruption here into that spot. We were communicating if it was necessary to go tier 2. So Hirooo had the choice to go tier 2 by himself over here. In case this Forsaken spam would have been played better, he could have picked up tier 2 to support me here with Cold Snap, with Kobo Trick, or whatever. But since I was saying to him that I was fine on my side, he could have picked up a power well and even extended his lead further. So Jens had to pick up a well by himself, but Hirooo picked up a 3rd one, so Hirooo is up in wells. He destroyed 2 wells, and this attack is getting wiped by using another eruption here. So there's nothing happening over here. Silver picked up a 2nd well because he realized that he can't attack me anymore. Hirooo simply picks up another base, so he will just make sure that he stays up in power wells, while I try to walk forward a little bit to that spot here to get more access to more potential power wells, and I will try to occupy this area here to make sure that there is no tier 3 spot for both players in the end if I get to acquire this position. So tier 2 by Silverdragon over here to make sure that there are no incoming attacks, since Hirooo is about to go tier 2 by himself. And this sort of means that we could play, if the game would stay in tier 1, stuff like Sandra, Life Weaving and Cold Snap and all that support, which is quite bad for them. So the ping onto the middle, because if you control that, we do completely deny tier 3 access, so any possibility of winning this game through scaling would have been crushed. But yeah, first of all, Hirooo manages to stabilize, deflecting this attack with very, very high power efficiency, and this is an easy defense for him. While I managed to pick up 4 power wells here, so the apparent situation here is quite good for me. I'm up 1 power well, Hirooo is up 1 power well. We managed to destroy 2 power wells on this side here, and this way means we will get constant advantages over here. So he's now right here. We see my Sunstriders going in because I don't want to have that tier 1 power, the tier 1 units here doing sort of nothing. They still bind 50 power right now, so I make some use of them and spawn Skype Fiends. I make sure that they get out of daze, and Jens wanted to support with an eruption here, but my heal apparently came in time perfectly, so all of my units still remain alive, which is, well, quite nice. So yeah, I can start to pressure over here while Hirooo manages to pick up another power well. He's up 2 wells right now. I will in the meantime start to retreat here, making sure that my units sort of survive for a while, reposition the Sunstriders to get damage onto the M units, Hurricane against the Dark of Assassins so my Skype Fiends don't die, and in the meantime Hirooo is just simply waiting for something to happen, as he has more power wells and therefore a higher power income. If he does nothing, he ends up getting more and more advantages. So starts to march forward a little bit, probably because he collected some power right here. He's at 132 with a Lost Reaver in his back pocket, so since the Fire player couldn't do anything, Hirooo manages to get a little bit of more advantage through the additional power wells here, and now he starts to attack by himself to apply more pressure, so Jens is unable to support if I get to extend my attacks over here. So Gladiatrix being played, so this is pretty much why you want to use Lost Reaver against Pure Fire, to force out counter units that are not Enforcer, because these ones simply don't translate into counter attacks like Enforcers do, and this slows them down even though the attack is ending up being not successful. So yeah, a very, very good unit split, as you can see. We do have the main attack over here, but also some of these units here, so there's no big target for Wildfire. Even a lava field wouldn't cover the entire area. You could like hit these 4 units, but the Storm Singer will be out of range for sure, and these 2 will be out of range right now as well. So pretty much a very, very good positioning. Nightcrawler attacking the Gladiatrix, the Lost Reaver sort of safe here, the Dark of Assassins attacking the Skyfire Drake, and there's a Frenzied Nightcrawler and the Storm Singer sort of getting rid of this Enforcer. In the meantime, I try to set up a Varrover attack to make sure that I can also use the siege damage, so my attacks will be stronger against the Shadow Frost player, and I try to overload the Frost Protects, because this is pretty much my most important job here, to make sure, since Hirooo has a very, very big offense ongoing, to make sure that no Protects can be played on this side here, because like this there's a pretty difficult time here for the Fire player to sort of stabilize anymore. So we have a split attack ongoing. This Varrovers are going to attack here. 2 Nightcrawlers played but rooted immediately. So these ones will run to the side, so Skype Fiends, you can heal them later on, which is, since they cost 100 power, more effective than just playing another squad. In the meantime, this well here dropped. I think, I'm not sure if I think Hirooo did this by himself. Yeah. Well, there was this attack ongoing, so if Silverdragon uses the protects on this side here, he cannot hold his own base. So this is why we sort of make sure that we attack at the same time and sort of gain more efficiency onto our attacks. So he's sort of respawning another Storm Singer, getting off his Lost Crawlers here from the Lost Reaver. In the meantime, the Nightcrawler spam sort of continues. the Sunstriders are still here attacking the power well for some time, and yeah, more Barrovers incoming to make sure that two spots are always pressured at the same time. Just make sure that you don't play them that close to each other if you play against Shadow Frost, because Shadow Frost most of the time relies on Nasty Surprise to defend. This is why I ended up splitting here, because a Nightcrawler Nasty would have killed both Barrovers, and this would be 140 power cleared by 110, so that would be not that great. So I ended up splitting these Barrovers while attacking here, and Hirooo makes like a very good job at pressuring right here. So as you can see, xHightech played on this side, so I can make sure if I go for a well focus here, I will use the oink and go for a well focus to make sure that this well here dies. In the meantime, we do have that Lost Reaver getting a little bit low, so this attack is nearly cleared out. So while Hirooo realized that this one probably will die without getting this power well, we were communicating, since this well is dropping here, this well drops because the xHightech was played here. I ended up playing a Surge of Light, and Hirooo has right now a full HP Reaver against these Enforcers and the power well, so he nasties immediately. So the Enforcer dies, the well is down, making sure we get a second power well down here with our offense, so our advantage grows and grows. So the heal Nasty Surprise is a very common thing in 2v2s. So another Ensnaring Roots here with full duration, making sure this power well is still under pressure. Surge of Light over here. xHightech was played here, so I will try to burst down this power well, because xHightech should have been on cooldown. So as you can see, the well drops below 300. Well, I'm not sure if this eruption was necessary, but I just wanted to make sure that this well drops before the xHightech comes off cooldown, because if it does, this attack is pretty much weakened due to the fact that the burrows were nearly dead. This attack was dead, so if I don't get this power well, the attack would have been done, so I made sure that this was successful. In the meantime, the Lost Reaver pretty much pressuring again, and I make sure that this attack is intercepted as early as possible by Ghost Spears and Snaring Roots. So Lost Reaver is coming here as well, but I do have a Skyfire Drake, making sure that the Lost Reaver gets to lose some HP already. So this Nightcrawler will be attacked by the Ghost Spears immediately, so there's no Nasty Surprise incoming to kill the Skyfire Drake. And the Lost Reaver using his ability right here, another Lost Reaver incoming. A lot of pressure due to the fact that Hirooo has this decent power lead. He makes good work of his units to make sure that he's pressuring the fire player a lot. So in the meantime, this bar over here doesn't survive in the end. I think it was the one from the attack. Another Ensnaring Roots here. This is why rooting so early is just that important, because we can root again over here. So deflecting attacks early is very important. So freeze incoming, at least these Sky Fiends managed to sort of get out of this. You see, the Nightcrawler went over here to support a little bit, but yeah, it simply didn't do anything. The Reaver dies, the attack gets deflected, and this leaves us in a very good spot. So tier 3 is incoming here by myself. In the meantime, Hirooo is still crushing with his attacks. Yeah, there's just 4 power wells against 2, 4, 6, and 2 power wells against, like, what is Hirooo having here? 5 wells? Yeah. So there's a massive lead on that side. So Silverdragon manages to acquire his tier 3 spot though, so we didn't get control over that, which is maybe a slight mistake by me. I could have managed to control this spot here for sure, but since our power lead is more than good enough, this doesn't matter at all. So Timeless One here freezing the Fire Dancers though, so Hirooo can simply focus down the Enforcer here. In the meantime, we do have Giant Slayers getting here into these bases. Ravage here in the meantime manages to win, and Silverdragon leaves as well. So this match ended up with a clean 2-0. So we managed to advance to the finals. Okay, there we go. It's the finals between myself, Hirooo, and our opponents xHightech and Anno. Both are playing with Fire and Shadow into one. And so let's just go through what the actual game plan is when you're playing against Fire and Shadow. So the strongest combo this two colors can sort of throw at you into one is Life Weaving Sunderer, which is a very, very dangerous combo. And this is why I pick up this early power well. So you could potentially pick up this one to have more pressure in the middle and to be way more offensive, but I take this one because there's a great distance between myself and my opponent, so there's no possibility throughout the game that this well is going to be rushed with Life Weaving Sunderer if I can keep control over this area without taking a power well. So in the meantime, Hirooo didn't pick up that power well. He's going for a more aggressive approach. He wants to take this power well to sort of pressure onto this spot here. If he out-micros his opponent, he gains complete map control by picking up this well cluster here. So as you can see, xHightech responded by doing the same move. Enno has this defensive well, so he's on a pretty risky spot here. If he loses this fight over here, he's completely losing map control. So Sunstrider's coming out and Scavengers. I will play a little bit more reserved because I think that our game plan was winning the bottom side here because Hirooo has the more aggressive position. So I was preparing to support him with an Eruption against the not well splitted Forsaken here. Right now it's not that bad, but during the fight this could break out, and yeah, if you erupt into this, for instance, this fight would be completely over. But as you can see, xHightech completely realized that I could potentially support better, or as you can see, Hirooo just has 2 units clumped over here, so this 3-man Forsaken, this 3-man Eruption would be way more effective. So xHightech decides to push immediately. And this is a pretty common move if you want to avoid your opponent from supporting his teammate. Just attack, because that completely lowers the power pool, because I have to defend at full power if I want to beat xHightech here in this skirmish. So I cannot support anymore against the incoming units. So Frenzied Forsaken, this is a very, very common mistake that I see. You don't frenzy the Forsaken that are getting focused in the fight, because during the animation time you lose the DPS that you would gain by having the Forsaken Frenzied. If you want to have one Frenzied Forsaken squad, you want to frenzy, for instance, that one, or you could potentially frenzy that one. Maybe not that one, because you want to have that one frenzied and then motivate the squad if it dies. But you don't frenzy that one, because as you can see, there's going to be like 1 damage rotation and then they die. So in theory, these Forsaken just lost DPS from using the frenzy. Apparently Hirooo is, well, he did the same mistake here, so both players with a small mistake over here. In the meantime, xHightech is losing his Scavenger over here, while my Scavenger managed to pick up Sunstriders and is in a pretty good spot. I split against Eruptions right here because there could be one incoming, but xHightech decides to play the Thugs. He had 90 power. If he erupts into this, I would have lost these 2 Sunstriders, and then that would be quite bad. So I decided to split. He went for the Thugs, which is a mistake because I do have 70 power as well, and I decided to erupt by myself. So this was a pretty intense moment here, because this is completely turning around that fight. xHightech completely lost. I'm at 3 Sunstriders. He's sitting at 1 single squad left. And in the meantime, Hiroo's pushing back Enno. As you can see, there are, I think, 4 Forsaken against 3, so he won that fight convincingly too. This pretty much means, especially if you can see, Enno is the only one who used Motivate, so Hirooo is at a pretty big lead right now. Yeah, there's an Eruption incoming to clear out the 2 Sunstriders here. That is fine, that is 100 power for 75, but even then, if you just look at how this fight went, especially since these ones die, the Eruption ends up being not effective anymore, because now it's 2 Sunstriders for 1 Sunstrider. And if you see, I have 2 Sunstriders and 70 power. xHightech is around 70 power and like no Sunstriders. He can kill that squad because he already lost some of his units here. In the meantime, as you can see, Hirooo made the correct decision by pushing back Enno here, since he made a very, very effective trade. He picked up a power wall by himself to gain control, and I will do the same thing, because I had a pretty big lead on my side as well. And like this, you can see how we established some control on the map. I am up in power, Hirooo is up in power and map control. So this is why you can see this aggressive well is quite useful, because now he controls the entire area here, which is quite nice. And yeah, I had to pick up that early well over here, because otherwise if I do any mistakes, Sandra Life Weaving could punish this power well quite easily. So yeah, Enno is picking up a power well by himself to not fall behind any further, but he has to give up the map control, and right now you can see still his Forsaken are clumped up. So since there is no close distance between myself and XHightech, this is a very good spot for us, because now I can first of all stay ahead in power wells for now. So there is not much that we have to do, because we're up in power wells. It's 5 against 4, as you can see. And since there's still a pretty big distance between these wells, I can still look for some support. As you can see, I went for a 3-man Forsaken eruption. So as you can see, one squad already died. These two are damaged heavily while being one well up. So Hirooo is killing 2 Forsaken here, and this is allowing him to push forward. So I pinged XHightech here because he didn't decide to pick up a 3rd well by himself, and he attacks. So just keep in mind that I'm up 1 power well, and I spent an eruption to support Enno down here, who is trying to desperately defending this Forsaken. And so this nasty was apparently very essential. Just notice that he used the he got the stomp effect on one Forsaken squad, so that lowers the HP by like just a small amount, so the nasty was able to kill that squad, which was very important over here, because otherwise Enno would have been crushed here. In the meantime, as you can see, I'm under pressure because XHightech decided to use the eruption that I invested here to attack me. He wanted to rush that power, but so far everything is looking stable for me. We can see the scavenger is getting away. Oh no, it's not. So that is unfortunate for XHightech. But in the meantime, I got to kill some stuff over here. His split attack is not working out too much so far. In the meantime, Enno managed to survive so far, which is nice. There are 2 Forsaken in the backline coming to attack. I try to focus down the thugs here, because if these ones get out of daze, they can wreak havoc onto my Sunstriders, so I need to make sure that these ones die. And if you focus them with 2 Sunstriders, they will die. And I spawned another squad to finish these thugs. In the meantime, XHightech used a pretty decent eruption to kill 2 of my Sunstrider squads, and he initially wanted to keep his thugs alive. If they come out of daze, I would have had a problem over here, but I had this extra squad to finish them off. And right now, as you can see, there are 2 Sunstriders from my side and 2 Sunstriders. Well, now he's up 1 unit, if you can see the power pool right now. But I do have the advantage of spawning undazed units, so I'm actually at a pretty good spot right now. In the meantime, this attack is still going. Hirooo is pressuring a lot, but he's retreating because Enno mass frenzied, so pretty much Hirooo will just walk back with his Forsaken, wait until these 3 run out, and then he can attack with all of these Forsaken being dead. So yeah. In the meantime, we can see how this undazed scavengers are dealing with dazed Sunstriders, and yeah, this is why pushing again these fire mirrors is quite a tough task, and apparently XHightech failed doing so here. So yeah, that is quite unfortunate for him, because right now the scavenger also survives by being microed, and I know is still under pressure and has sort of no breathing room, and I know there is no support being played by him. So the only thing a shadow player can do in tier 1 is using life weavings over here. So even though I was behind in power, I was quite confident that first of all Hirooo was pressuring, so Enno had no power to do anything, and second thing is a life weaving onto all these small units wouldn't do anything. The only unit where it's usually worth it is the Sandra. Since that didn't happen, well, everything is fine. So I think that was that an eruption from XHightech? I think so. Yeah, and as you can see, he played the Sandra because they want to 2v1 onto this well, because XHightech realized that he can't attack me anymore. I'm still 1 power well ahead, and well, I do have some bound power into my units here, so XHightech decides to attack Hirooo here, which is a decent move, and he supported him with an eruption over here. I will use an eruption by myself to support the attack onto the power well, and well, this is looking quite good. I think, yeah, there comes a massive nasty, like this nasty killed 4 units. That was huge, really. So right now this offense is stopped, so apparently our plan of getting this one down and sort of failed. Well, the Dread Charger got played immediately because we want to body block the Sundra to slow him down. If this one reaches the power well and the life weaving gets onto it, this power well is nearly done. And well, XHightech used an eruption to kill my Fire Swan. In the meantime, since I'm not sure at what support Hirooo is going to need over here, I keep my power, while XHightech in the offensive spot is able to reclaim the 4th power well. So right now we are even in wells. The body box slightly fails here, but now he gets a second Dread Charger to make sure this is slowed down a little bit. And yeah, Forsaken being played, and I will choose, like, these 3 units are also quite important. The Life Weaving is incoming here. These units are important to soak up the spread out damage. So Life Weaving does some reflection damage, and these units are keeping that reflection damage away from the power well. So even with that eruption, the well didn't drop so far, but this made XHightech invest another eruption here. So 150 power. As you can see, this was pretty much his entire power pool, and this is sort of my go-to sign to attack him over here, because he is completely out of power. There's no way from Enno to support, since there's no unit close to me. He's trying to pick up as well to sort of reclaim some of the map control over here. But as you can see, there's one Fire Swan, but I know XHightech is low on power, so I double erupt that one. And with the Life Weaving, this Sundra is pretty much good to go. In the meantime, we use the units here to distract Enno, while the Sundra is kicking that power. As you can see, I will walk up to the second one because I know this one is going to drop anyways, and I will just erupt here to make sure these units around the power will die. And since the Life Weaving is still on the Sundra, this power well drops. So with the eruption spam support, we get to kill 2 power wells for that one. So this offense didn't just fail, and so let's say it didn't fail, but it sort of made a pretty big cost of losing these 2 power wells, because XHightech had to invest these 2 eruptions to kill that power well, which was simply not worth it in the end, as you can see. So right now Hirooo is picking up a power well by himself, keeping up in power wells. It is pretty important because, spoiler alert, Hirooo is playing Shadow Frost, and the Frost Splash usually needs a good amount of power wells. So our well distribution isn't optimal right now, because I'm sitting at 7 power wells and he's sitting at 4. The Frost Splash usually has to support quite often, because power wells, he needs to keep up the power wells. And this is why you usually want to have more power onto the Frost Splash player, and this means you want more early power wells onto him. But yeah, this is why Hirooo is trying to pick up another one here, especially after he lost one. Enno is up 1 power well right now, but this is completely okay because I'm up 3 power wells over xHightech right now. And he's trying to sort of counter attack right now, but against 5 power wells and 120 power, this is not going to succeed. And yeah, this eruption for me was apparently bad, to be honest. But it's completely fine because I do have a very big lead. In the meantime, Hirooo is defending any attacks of Enno right here. Yeah, that is going fine. These ones are going to die right here. This Sunstrider assault completely failed, and it's very important to keep in mind that any attack that sort of went even is pretty much a win for us, because we in total are up 2 power wells in this game. So this eruption, by the way, completely wiped out the Sunstriders. So right now I'm in a very strong position with 200 power. So since we sort of completely demolished XHightech's power pool by getting these 2 power wells here, I decide that it's time to attack Enno, and yeah, there goes the ping. And this is where we sort of make the decision of leaving XHightech alone for now, because he's nowhere near getting tier 2 or something. He has 200 power, but he's still down in power wells, and I do have 300 power, which is, well, a little bit more. And there goes the tier 2. So right now this power well is somewhat isolated. We can use Hiroo's units from over here to attack, because he's going tier 2 as well. While using my units from that spot to spawn undazed stuff onto that power well, and XHightech is nearly isolated over here. There's pretty much nothing that he can do. He's playing thugs to deflect the Sunstrider assault from that earlier fight here. As you can see, there's the Lost Reaver immediately with the life-weaving hero is completely pressuring onto that power well, so this one seems to drop pretty fast. Good nether warp here to delay a little bit, because XHightech is also on his way to his tier 2. In the meantime, there are Ghost Spears and a Skyfire Drake trying to attack and support that attack. In the meantime, Scythe Fiends are going to be played to clear out the thugs, while yeah, there is not that much to watch here. So let's go back to that power. As you can see, there are Shadow Mage, Dark Elf Assassins, Nightcrawler Scavengers, so XHightech is going to be tier 2 right now and support with spells, and also he has at least a Scavenger right now in this area to make sure, yeah, and the lava field, so there is actually at least something that he could have done here, but yeah, the oink onto the Skyfire Drake, but as you can see, the counter lava field is going to be way too effective. As you can see, XHightech had to invest another spell. He has no way to spawn undazed units, so yeah. In the meantime, Hiroo already attacks Anno at the second spot, which is quite nice to make more and more pressure onto these wells. So just realize that these guys are playing Pure Shadow plus Fire Nature, which is quite nice in offense, but since they don't have a Frost Splash, this deck lacks defensive strength. And you can see that by that attack. So there was another lava field by XHightech to clear out these Nightcrawlers. This power well dropped already, and this power well is going to drop as well. Hiroo pinged, so I can support him with my spells over here if necessary. As you can see, I do have a huge amount of power, and in the meantime, I'm trying to set up attack by myself while erupting that. So Anno right now lost 2 power wells, so he's back on 3. So since Anno is sort of weakened right now in this state, I focus on attacking XHightech again, since he is going to be the main threat right now, as he's back on 4 wells for a while. And right now you can see that having a big power lead in these matchups is quite useful. As for these Scythe Fiends can simply go for a super well focus, and there's not that much that you can do against that. That double eruption was completely failed by XHightech, by the way. Not the double, I think, was it a double eruption, or I don't know. At least there was one eruption that was completely failed to finish off these Scythe Fiends. I'm not sure if the second one was being played by me, because it seemed like these guys took like no damage at all. So another heal, life weaving, and as you can see, since XHightech is almost at his power limit, he probably can play a disenchant or something. Maybe doesn't. I think he has it in his deck. He played it on the Lost Reaver, but the life weaving Scythe Fiends and the Skyfire in the backline are completely destroying this power well cluster here. So two power wells gone by XHightech. In the meantime, I realized that I do have the Sunstrider still over here. Didn't realize that. That is quite bad, because that's 100 bound power by myself. Completely wasted, because they don't do anything right now. Should have killed these units here. So Lost Reaver and an Aura played against the incoming Harvester over here. Yeah, Aura of Corruption combined with crowd control to keep him in place. I think there was a small communication error. We saw that Harvester way earlier, but my crowd control came in a little bit late. So this Harvester is closer at this power wall than it should have been, because that is quite strong in the Pure Shadow Fire Nature combination. As you can see, Harvester with perma heal I sent my creatures here back to these Dark Elf Assassins to at least do something. Disenchant onto the double buffed Harvester, and the siege damage is quite huge. So yeah, that is not enough. So that power well drops right here. That is quite unfortunate for us, but so far so good. This Harvester is in a pretty bad spot right there. Another freeze, like a massive amount of crowd control to keep this unit in place. So there's no way it does more than it should have killed. It should have killed like at least these two power wells to keep them in the game. But yeah, as you can see, a very good use of the Storm Stinger ability to clear the Phoenix. Now we do have 2 Lost Reavers, 2 Storm Stingers, this attack ongoing to this power wall, and I'm still sitting at these 5 extra wells, so I get an insane amount of power. I'm quite mad since I realized that I completely wasted these 2 Sunstriders here. I don't know, I think I lost track of them. That's a pretty big mistake by myself, but well, I'm lucky it didn't get punished. As you can see, XHightech realized that they are too far behind. As you can see, I could have picked up tier 3 by the current power level. I think there was Skyfire and Ghost Spears over here to defend a double Borrower attack. I think I missed that right now in the replay. Completely defended here, and yeah, this is the first game of this final series. Okay, this is the next replay of the finals. We are right now up 1-0 against Enno and XHightech, and I'm sorry for that awful minimap here. That looks completely terrible. I'm not sure what happened here. But so we're playing Shadow and Fire again. Pretty much the same combo. I think Enno and XHightech are doing the same. Early power well pickups, but yeah, this time we play pretty much a reversed version of first game. This time XHightech plays against Hirooo, while I play against Enno in this early skirmish. So I pick up that early power because I am pretty much confident that I can win this fight in the middle. Usually this is a pretty dangerous well pick up, because if you lose control over the middle, you do have at least some problems at keeping up in map controls. You need to make sure that you can pick up this cluster over here, otherwise you're cut off of your tier 3 position. So in the meantime, Hirooo is picking up 4 Forsaken, and yeah, pretty much so the same thing happening on both sides. So XHightech for Sunstriders here, as you can see, only 3 Sunstriders and 3 Forsaken on the board, and I honestly do have a pretty good positioning right now, because Enno has to run into my area here. I can get off some DPS into the Red Charger before he can do anything. So yeah, since these guys over here didn't pick up any power walls, they do have more power for more units in the early game. But yeah, that's fine so far. So I will retreat with my Sunstriders over here, so the nasty surprise doesn't catch them. And right now I realize that Enno's split is completely awful. Right now he cannot win with that split, so I decide to not play any units anymore, focus down the Red Charger and erupt into this, because with that positioning I can completely win that early fight, because they usually want to have a spread out over here in this area. As you can see, like, there's no way you can have 4 Forsaken that close to each other without running into a good eruption point. So in this scenario, the eruption wins me the tier 1 fight. Usually this doesn't happen. In the meantime, there comes an eruption from XHightech onto Hiroo's unit. It's mediocre, to be honest. He gets a good amount of damage onto the Red Charger, but since this one retreats, Hirooo is at a pretty great position. There are a lot of Forsaken, which makes them easy eruption targets, but since he has a pretty big power lead, he has 135 power lead right now, he's more than fine in this fight. So very good choice, frenzying a squad that isn't focused. I think we had that in the first game. This is the correct decision, because now they can get off the increased DPS, which is very, very useful, and as you can see, he's completely destroying xHightech in this fight so far. Important eruption onto Red Charger, otherwise you can soak up the corpses over here. This eruption sort of gives HightTech some hope, but he lost that early skirmish way too hard. So this fight is almost over. In the meantime, we do have the three Sunstriders pushing forward, and since I went for an eruption over here, I killed these for a second. Red Charger dies, I think. Yeah, it dies. So another power lead for me here. Tier 1 is going great. HightTech had to invest in another eruption, but let's just check the power values. Hirooo is sitting at 72 power and HightTech is sitting at 26. Both do have the equal amount of units, so Hirooo definitely won that Tier 1 fight, especially since his Forsaken are still full life. In the meantime, I am sitting at 95 power because I want to play a Sandra. And well, 3 Sunstriders and Enno is at 100 power, and yeah, 2 Forsaken, so I am slightly ahead, and that is a quite good spot for both of us, because right now Hirooo is able to support me because he won his Tier 1 skirmish, and there comes the Sandra with Life Weaving, which is a very, very strong addition against Proshadow, and then we try to push that power. So that is apparently a very, very good response by xHightech, because if he erupts onto the Sandra, that would pretty much do nothing for them. But since these Sunstriders weren't split up, this eruption completely destroyed 3 units and was almost worth 150 power. So this fight, which looked quite great up to this point, is pretty much on the edge right now. So there's no guarantee that this Sandra is going to kick that power. In the meantime, another respawn's happening on the other side. Nox Trooper overload. Here comes the charge. So right now the Sandra drops at 170, I think. Well, Hirooo doesn't have the power for another Life Weaving. I do have the power for an eruption, so as you can see, with 365 HP, if this one gets another hit onto the power, this one drops, but it didn't happen. So very, very good response by xHightech to clear out the Sunstriders. This completely saved that power well, and completely stabilized this side for Enno. As you can see, he's at 2 power worlds right now, and 5 units. In the meantime, I'm at 2 power worlds as well. This scavenger is invisible. Okay, never mind. It just got spawned. So I can at least stay even in power worlds because this army is quite far away from that power well. So there is no fast attack incoming, and I will get some of my void back up until a potential fight happens. But still, this is a pretty bad outcome for me, because I will lose map control over here, which is quite bad, because now I'm forced to pick up that position if the game goes anywhere near tier 3. So this Forsaken frenzy was completely wasted. These ones are going to die and will do nothing in the meantime, especially since Enno was ahead. So HightTech is playing out the thugs right now, very, very good at this choke point to fight. Motivate played on this side, rather useless, because the distance between the Forsaken and this power wall is quite big, and still there is a choke point, which is exactly what Fire needs. So both Shadow players are somewhat limited at the actions, because they have to pass through that choke point and that choke point, which is completely favoring the Fire player in both scenarios. So yeah, three power walls on both sides, so 3 extra power walls. Right here, Hirooo and HightTech both with 2 extra power wells, because they didn't take that one early power well right at the start of the game. And yeah, tier 2 by Enno right now, because I went tier 2 by myself, because Hirooo apparently was afraid of getting Sandra life weaved here. As I mentioned, this is a very powerful combo from Fire Shadow, and especially the Shadow player has a quite hard time defending that if he plays no Night Guard or anything. And Night Guard apparently is rarely played in 2v2 because it has a lot of counterplay. So both players here picking up the third power wells, and yeah, I went tier 2 because I was quite afraid that any Sandra action is incoming here, and with tier 2 I do have Disenchant, I do have Endstein Roots, I do have a lot of tools to support my teammates if that scenario happens, and so right now there's no way that Hirooo can be attacked. In the meantime, I'm sitting at 4 power worlds right now, so There's not that much that Anno can do, because he still has a lot of bound tier 1 power. This is why I pick up this power well, because I do have a lot of power, and as you can see, Anno doesn't have that much. If he picks up that power well, he's sitting at 10, and I would sit at 72, so I'm pretty much in the lead right now. Even though it seemed like this attack completely failed, but since he has these units that are pretty much doing nothing, this is completely holding him back. In the meantime, 4 power wells, I think, for both players here. Hirooo managed to get map control over here, so this is a very good thing for us, because this is securing a tier 3 spot for me over here. If Hirooo picks up these orbs, I could potentially go tier 3 over here, which is sort of relieving the pressure that I had to encounter due to the fact that Anno occupied this position. So there's a lava field incoming, completely clearing out the entire tier 1 army. This already cleared 3 units, these ones are low, so it was sort of worth it. In the meantime, Hirooo decides to attack by himself, and since these units are pretty much in a, let's say, perfect line right now, and I'm playing nature, you can pretty much guess what happens. Yeah, exactly. The Hurricane onto 5 units, completely giving Hirooo the edge over here at this fight. Just remember, none of these players here is tier 2, so this is a pretty cheap spell. This is 50 power that I had to invest, so there's no sort of well, let's say payback on this side of the map, but yeah, you can see these guys completely die out, and xHightech is forced to go tier 2 to sort of survive right now, because Hiroooo's pressuring. So what do we have to react to now is that Anno was pretty much close to getting a harvester down. So this power well was damaged just from the early encounter with the Sandra, and he had to repair this power well right now. So it was at 250 power or something, maybe even higher. So he was very close to the harvester. But the Sunstriders were attacking the Nightcrawler, and this Scavenger was apparently opting for this power well, because as you can remember, maybe this was at 365 HP, so an eruption and maybe 1 or 2 attacks would be able to kill this power well. So he has to repair, and he has to play a Nightcrawler to deal with the Sunstriders over here, which is pretty essential, because otherwise we would have faced an Harvester right now, which is quite unfortunate for us, because Hirooo isn't tier 2 yet. And this would be quite hard to defend if xHightech manages to support with heals at that given time. So the power well is going to be attacked, and another Nightcrawler is played out. So the Harvester spawn is delayed by a good amount of time. As you can see, the power drops to 150, and now it's completely down because Anno took a 4th power well by himself. Just remember that I was up 1 power up until now. So in the meantime, Hirooo is using the Mass Frenzy, and Anno is nearly saving him this power, but yeah, the Dread Charger and Nightcrawler are finishing off this power. Quite good idea of using the Nether Warp, because the Forsaken are simply out of range, and Stray Woods will deal with these units. But right now, Hirooo managed to kick a power well because of the advantage that he got in tier 1, since these units got obliterated by the Hurricane, which is very important for him, because right now he's ahead in the game. So not that much happening right now. Anno is probably still waiting for his Harvester. Microing his Nightcrawler away from my Ghost Spears. Maybe he survives. This one's close. Yeah, he survives. So these Ghost Spears are going to die, and another squad is going to be played right here. So that is very important. We need to avoid Harvester that is going to be played next to my power well, because that would sort of prevent any CC chains, and well, I cannot defend without those against the Harvester, because I rely on Skyfire Drags as my main DPS sources to defend that. And yeah, like this we can intercept early and force the Harvester spawn back at his orb over there. So Harvester incoming, and in the meantime here is still running around with Nightcrawler, probably maybe pressuring at a different spot. xHightech in the meantime is trying to apply a lot of pressure. Battleforge Skyfire he wants to overload the protects right now, because if Hirooo cannot use protects, and xHightech maybe can use a Surge of Light if he does that amount of trading, a power well may drop at the end. So Eno trying to use the Nether Warp to get these Skyfires closer doesn't work, but still it saved some time for him. Right now the Harvester got ported back. That is unfortunate for him, but yeah. As you can see, the Harvester is already down at 1000 HP before it reached anything that is close to a power well. So another route, that is a very important pickup. The Dark of Assassins over here are very important because they kill one Skyfire Drake, which is completely reducing my DPS here. So there is another Skyfire Drake. This one will be moved out of the life-reaving reflection range, so there's not that much that can happen. So in the meantime, xHightech is pressuring at that power wall here and getting that one down, which is quite surprising. I didn't expect him to get that one. And the Harvester is pressuring onto my power wall, but as you can see, it got healed once. It was sub 1000, so xHightech managed to get off one heal. So he was pretty much at his power limit at that. Yeah, he's at 40 power right now, and Hirooo now stabilized, so he can counter attack right now. But this was very important because right now they are at a good spot and they are attacking the power, and it's very hard to defend from that spot. So protects are coming, but with this well drops, allowing me to root the Harvester again, which is nice. But yeah, another disenchant, double buff disenchant. There's a lot of stuff coming down here, and yeah, Hirooo cleared out everything of xHightech. So just remember that these guys were equal in power wells, but what xHightech didn't realize probably, or maybe realized too late, that I had the split attack with the Battleforge ongoing on this side. It's hard to sort of commentate on everything from every player. I missed that one here in time. So this Battleforge was running around picking up a power well in the meantime here, and I sent it down to attack the power well, and since xHightech was pressuring with all his power onto these power wells, he lost one on his own, which is quite important because it sort of equalized the situation over there. So I was lucky that the Battleforge killed the other one over there, and in the meantime disenchant is being played onto the Harvester. Frostbite by Hirooo, he's supporting me with all protects and all the stuff that he has to keep these power wells alive. I will use an eruption. I wasn't sure at the amount of power that xHightech had. In the end, if you see, he had 40 power. This eruption was completely useless, but I wasn't sure if he had another heal here, and I just didn't want to lose 2 power wells. So right now I can start a counter attack by myself. In the meantime, there are Ghost Spears clearing out this Battleforge and the Nightcrawler attack, but Hirooo is splitting up his army, using a Lost Reaver onto that well, while this rooted Nightcrawler is still able to attack the power well. So immediately frenzied, very good response here to increase the DPS. 2 Skyfire Drakes going for that power well here, and well, another Harvester, but you can see Hirooo managed to destroy that power well by xHightech, so he's 2 power wells in the lead right now, which is a very nice position for us. And the Harvester in the meantime getting CC'd here, and still, as you can see, there's still the big distance between the Harvester and this base. So I managed to destroy that one power well, and I will say, yeah, let's just keep the Harvester here, use some crowd control, and attack it with the 2 Skyfires that were still remaining from the last Harvester defense. In the meantime, this Aura of Corruption from Eno, I guess, helped xHightech at defending. I didn't completely keep up what happened there, but as you can see, Lost Reaver, Dark of Assassins, using the ability to get rid of the Battleforge, so there's no counter attack onto this power well. And in the meantime, I decide to go tier 3 by myself. So this Harvester is low already, so that is quite nice for us. There have to be a lot of heals invested to keep that one alive. And now tier 3 hit the board. Eno playing a shield building, protecting this power well, as you can see. 336 power. I had the power to erupt. I was quite close to it, but the shield building comes right in time. So Stormsinger, Reaver dealing with the Gladiatrix here. Hirooo still trying to attack XHightech as much as possible, so there's no way to heal this Harvester. Silverwind lands a nasty to clear out the Skyfire Drakes just a little bit too late, so this Harvester dies. Attack is completely stopped, and right now we are at a 200 power stabilized tier 3, which is quite nice. Giant Slayer is already incoming onto these units, so if they rage up, their power efficiency is just way higher than what Silverwind Lancers can do. So there's an Ashbone being played, immediately oinked, because this allows us to freely rage up the Giant Slayer, and you can see the charge is very, very powerful once you have the rage here. So Hirooo pinging my Giant Slayer right here, so XHightech wanted to root quite early over here, or maybe from that spot here. He wanted to warn me that I'm going to run into the Skyfire Drake, but I couldn't react in time. Another Giant Slayer attack ongoing onto this base, so we're trying to pressure. In the meantime, Hiroo's picking up tier 3 by himself to stabilize against the Burrower spam by XHightech. As you can see, XHightech has no good spot of getting tier 3 up, just rather he has to pick up tier 3 over here, but there's no unit nearly close to that spot, so XHightech didn't get any tier 3 spots, so he has to push with his tier 2 army, and if this doesn't succeed, he will completely run out of power. But well, I guess fighting Shadow Frost on his side in tier 3 is quite difficult anyways. So the Giant Slayers here are completely ripping apart the Silverwind Lancers, and this Giant Slayer managed to defend. XHightech managed to kill that one. Timeless One is in the meantime played to see these Burrowers. Timeless One nasty, yeah, well, that was mediocre. Another Giant Slayer spam over here. That one got defended, but these ones are going for the orb. This one's going for that base. And yeah, Hirooo using more Silverwind Lances to stabilize. I think I missed that. Did he lose a power well here again? I think he didn't. I think he didn't. Another freeze from the Timeless One onto these two units over here. Another Giant Slayer fighting against Silverwind Lancers. It's quite hard to keep track of everything. So 2 Giant Slayers here, 2 Giant Slayers here. Already focusing the orb, but against the shield building it's quite hard, so completely switching for the Ashbone, getting rid of the counter unit. XHightech is not able to push any further. Hirooo stabilized with Timeless One, so there's probably no chance of XHightech getting close to his tier 3. As you can see, another warp to keep the orb alive, but there's another Giant Slayer approaching to attack this base. There are Giant Slayers now in every base, and right now Enos orb drops, so he completely lost. XHightech pretty much lost because he's down in tech level. Ashbone clearing out these Burrowers, these last Burrowers that are standing. So as you can see, this orb dropped. This orb is going to drop quite soon, as there are no protects anymore. It's just the shield building and tier 3 played by the pure shadow player. And yeah, right now there are tier 3 units incoming onto this base, so this base is completely dropping. This one is going to drop. The power well dropped. Yeah, Giant Slayer charging onto the orb. This orb dropped, and Anno leaves, and yeah, the Brannock doesn't get to do anything. The game is over right here. So that was the 2v2 tournament by Toggy, and just, at least that was our run in this 2v2 tournament. I just thought I would commentate these replays from us to sort of share some of the thoughts that we have when we played into these games, and I hope that you enjoyed these replays, since I didn't upload that many 2v2s on my channel. And yeah, well, I hope you liked the videos, and see you soon.